Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the show. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. I'm so glad to have you guys in today. We are a little bit more than 24 hours away from the start of the fantasy football season. I cannot wait. I know you guys are excited. I am as well. And what I'm going to be doing for this video is talking about players that are going to go off in week one. These are smash plays. They've got to be in your lineup. There is no way in hell you can have these guys on your bench in week one because they're going to go off. So, quick note, these are not going to be the super obvious guys. Obviously, the guys that you drafted, in the first, second, and third rounds to be your starters, they're obviously going to be your starters. These are guys that might be on your bench. They're on the bench in either a lot of ESPN leagues currently or at least some. And so I'm going to make sure that you guys have these guys plugged into your starting lineup because if not, it's going to be a disaster. You've got to start these dudes. First player on my list is going to be Cooper Kupp. Now, he's playing in a dome. He's going to be playing in a shootout-style game against Detroit, against a secondary that can give up a lot of points. They have a very good run defense, but their secondary has holes in it. Cooper Kupp is going to explode in this game, okay? This dude, think about it. He's got two massive seasons with Matt Stafford under his belt. He had that 1,900 receiving yard season back in 2021, and then in 2022, he was leading the league in fantasy points per game for a second season in a row, which is so incredibly hard to do before he went down with his injury. This dude is an absolute fantasy monster. He's going to bounce back in a massive way. Everybody's thinking that Puka Nacua is just going to be the guy this year. I don't really necessarily think that's the case. I think that Cooper Kupp is going to retake his throne as the number one wide receiver in this offense. And if you look at last year, he had a 25.6% team target share, so he was still getting thrown the ball a lot. It's just that he was playing banged up all year. Look for Cooper Kupp to bounce back and be the wide receiver one in this offense this season. I love him for this game. One of the higher scoring games on the slate. Should be a lot of passing, a lot of scoring. Cooper Kupp is a smash play for week one. He's probably in most people's starting lineups, but there's certainly leagues where people have him on their bench right now, and you absolutely can't. You have to start Cooper Kupp this week. Next player on my list is going to be Aaron Jones. Now, a lot of people probably have Aaron Jones on their bench because, you probably drafted him around 7 or 8 if you're drafting on ESPN leagues. And, this is the leader in yards per carry efficiency on a 1,000-plus carry sample size in the entire NFL besides Nick Chubb, right? There's only 2 running backs in the entire NFL that have 5+ yards per carry on a 1,000+ carry sample size, and that's Nick Chubb and Aaron Jones. This is one of the most efficient backs of all time, one of the most slept-on running backs of all time, and this dude's going to be getting volume in the Vikings offense. I mean, they have Justin Jefferson, they have Jordan Addison, but they also have Sam Darnold. They're probably going to be checking the ball down more with Sam Darnold than they would have been with Kirk Cousins, so look for Aaron Jones to be getting a healthy amount of targets out of the backfield. We know how tremendously explosive this guy is. I think that this offense can be better than expected. They are led by 2 very good wide receivers in Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. I think this offense outperforms expectations. And this week, up against the New York Giants, this is a terrible run defense, maybe the worst in the league. So this is a smash play for Aaron Jones. Look for him to get 20-plus carries this week because they're probably going to be playing with a lead. I like the Vikings to win this game. I like them to be ahead for most of the game, and I like Aaron Jones to go ballistic in week one. You need to plug him into your flex spot. Next player on my list is going to be Raheem Mostert. Now, you look back at Raheem Mostert's efficiency, right? 2023, 4.8 yards per carry. 2022, 4.9 yards per carry. 2021 injured. 2020, 5 yards a carry. 2019, 5.6 yards a carry. 2018, 7.7 yards a carry. This dude has been ridiculously efficient through his career. He has been absolutely awesome, and I don't understand why people are sleeping on him this year and taking Devon Achane 6 rounds ahead of him in drafts. It's absolutely crazy. But this guy's got to start in week one. Look, this is going to be, according to Vegas, the highest scoring game on the slate. It's a warm weather game. There's going to be a lot of points being scored. It's going to be a very, very high scoring game in Florida, the all-Florida matchup in week one. You want to start a lot of players on both of these teams. You especially want to start Raheem Mostert, considering the fact that he hasn't even really lost his running back one job yet. So this is a dude who is probably going to go off in week one, and he needs to be in your starting lineup. Next player on my list is going to be Amari Cooper. Now, Amari Cooper quietly had his best yardage season of all time last year. 1,250 yards is the most receiving yards he's ever had in the season. So he had his best wide receiver season last year, and everybody is acting like, since Joe Flacco is not there, he's not going to produce. Look, he was producing with Deshaun Watson before Deshaun Watson went down with his injury. Everybody remembers Deshaun Watson getting hurt early, so they call him a bust, but he was barely even on the field. I mean, this dude got injured so early in the season, and before he went down with his injury, he was starting to really gel with Amari Cooper. I mean, these two were looking really good together before he went down with his injury. Look for that to continue. He's had an entire year almost to heal up from his injury. He's 100%. This is still an elite quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. Everyone's going to tell you, hey, Deshaun Watson's not an elite quarterback. He's not the quarterback he used to be. This is total BS. This is just a narrative that somebody made up. I don't know. When he came into the Browns 2 years ago, he came in late in the season and didn't have any time to really learn the playbook before they put him on the field. And then last year he got hurt early. This is going to be the first season where we should get a full healthy season out of him. He's had an entire offense or an entire offseason to rehab his injury and work with the team. This dude's going to explode. I love Deshaun Watson. Amari Cooper is going to be the obvious wide receiver one in this offense. And if you look at this matchup against Dallas, Dallas's secondary is very banged up. Okay, so while Dallas has a good defense because of Micah Parsons, and a few other players, this is a guy who's going against the soft secondary in Dallas. The Dallas secondary is banged up. It's weak right now. Look for Amari Cooper to exploit this secondary and be one of the highest scoring wide receivers in week one. This dude's probably on your bench right now, but he's got to be in your starting lineup. Next and final player on my list is going to be Alvin Kamara. Now, I didn't notice this until I looked it up, but Alvin Kamara was the running back 3 last year in fantasy points per game, and everybody's drafting him as the running back 17, 18. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. Now, obviously, he's not in a good offense, but this week against Carolina, he's got a great matchup. Carolina is very bad against the run. He should be able to run all over these guys. And obviously, this dude is a PPR monster, right? I mean, you look at last year, he had 75 receptions. Throughout his career, he's been known to have, 70-plus receptions, just like it's clockwork. This dude is always eating out of the backfield. And Derek Carr loves to check the ball down, as we all know. So Alvin Kamara is going to be getting an insane amount of targets this week out of the backfield like he is every week this season. And he has a smash matchup against Carolina. I love starting Alvin Kamara this week. He needs to be in your starting lineup. All right, guys, make sure that you start these guys in week one. Don't be afraid to start them over a player that you drafted higher than them because their matchups are so good that they have to be in your starting lineup. All right, appreciate it, guys. Catch you later.